Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want to talk a little bit about stop asking for permission. Stop asking for permission from other people. Stop looking for approval. You know, when you have a good idea, say if it's in business, it could be just in your life for a plan of I want to do this, I want to do that. The first thing a lot of people do is they go and ask other people. They go and ask other people, not necessarily for their permission to do it, but in a sense, that is what they're doing. They go and bounce these ideas off their support group and to see what they think. You know, what do you think about this business plan? Or I was thinking about moving to Montana. Or, you know, what do you think about this or that? And then if they're friends, usually a lot of friends have their own motivation, and this is the problem with asking people their opinion on shit when it comes down to your life. And if you're taking it to heart, you're really just taking what they would do for their lives, and their lives isn't your life. Their life isn't your life. What they would do, what their motivations are, may be different than yours. You may have a motivation to create a certain vision of yourself, and they don't have the vision to create you in that vision. They may want you to be their friend, to stay living 2 doors down from them, to be a certain type of support system, always there, always text back immediately. They may just have you in a little peg that's where you belong for them. And when you go and ask a question of, well, what do you think? And this could break you out of that peg, they're not going to want to support you on that, but they're not going to want to tell you. They're not going to want to openly say, look, I'm going to purposefully hold you back in life because I have narcissistic, selfish motives of what our relationship is going to be. So as long as you can play the role I want you to or need you to, we're cool. But if anything ever happens to that, well, I don't know. You know, no one's going to be blunt with you like that. But even your best friends, family members could have these types of motivations, and you may have those types of motivations with others. It doesn't make you a bad person or a malicious person. It just means that you're not the best to be giving advice. I have started many businesses. The one that I've owned the longest and that I've liked the most is the motorcycle shop, Sinister City Motorcycles. I've had many other businesses. But and I would say this is true with all my businesses, but I just want to talk about the motorcycle shop. When I started my motorcycle shop 20 years ago, 19 years ago, I didn't ask anybody, do you think it's a good idea? I wasn't bouncing the idea off my friends or my family. I didn't go to my mom or anybody, stepfather, grandfather, cousins, best buddies. I didn't go to any of them and ask them, what do you think about this idea? I just did it. I just went for it. I decided I'm going to do this. And I went and I started doing it. I looked into business licensing. I looked into tools. I looked into education. I looked into shop space. I looked into buying bikes. I looked into how I'm going to get the money. I just started doing it. I had a buddy of mine, best friend of mine, come to me at one point and say, wow, I want to be part of this. And he's been my business partner ever since. And he did that rather early on. But I never once went and asked people, what do you think of this idea? If I would have, I bet you I never would have done it. It's been one of the best learning experiences that I've ever had. I've owned many businesses, but this one has really taught me the most. And it's something that I just enjoyed. I've moved across country. When I moved to Florida, that was a big move from California, from Los Angeles to Florida. And I wasn't running from anything. I wasn't running from the cops. I didn't have enemies hunting me. I wasn't rock bottom. I was doing fine. I was on the up and up. I left at a time that my motorcycle shop was about to explode on the LA scene. We were just about to be the new shit. We were on the come up, as they say. We were just about to blow up. And all of a sudden, Sky just leaves. I just get up and leave. I go 3,000 miles away. I bail. I leave town. Some people looked at me like, what are you doing? You're leaving at the worst possible time. For me, it was the best possible time. I wasn't focused on the LA scene. I was focused on a larger picture of how I could survive 20 years down the road. And I knew that in order to do that, I had to find a town that was more conducive towards a motorcycle scene where being a big fish wasn't the only way to survive. In LA, the only people that survive in that scene are the big fish. Trust fund babies, rich boys, shit like that. If you're a little small shop, underfunded, poor white trash motherfucker like I always was, you know, good luck. Good fucking luck. It's all about money. And I realized that it's not always like this everywhere in America. We have a giant country. I could go and do this. I realized this one day. I sat there by myself and realized, wow, I'm having a lot of ups and downs. And I could go somewhere else and do the same thing and have an easier time. I wonder what that would be like. So I started looking into it and I started realizing, wow, I could actually go to Florida. There's other places in this country that have great motorcycle scenes that offer me what I need in a job, in an industry, year-round riding, all kinds of people that like motorcycles, a large state full of millions and millions and millions of people. All of a sudden I found one. No problem. California didn't seem like the end of the world because to me that just felt like that was all that existed. I have West Coast, you can't see it, I have West Coast tattooed on my hand. I'm all about that fucking place. But I left one day and it was kind of a tough thing to do for me. And I didn't go and ask my friends, what do you think? If I did, they would have all told me, were you crazy? They would have talked me out of it because they want me to stay. If I would have asked my parents, I know my parents. My parents are not risk takers. You could live in the worst place ever, and they'll just tell you, oh, well, just stick it out. You know, life isn't really supposed to be happy, and we all can go to heaven someday, that kind of thing. And it's just like, but I deserve to have a good life now. And y'all motherfuckers are holding me back with this advice, trying to play it safe. You're just looking out for my best interest. Like suicidal tendencies say, how do you know what my best interest is? Motherfucker, I'm going to go for it. I didn't ask none of them. I told them. I don't ask people advice on certain types of things when it comes to life-changing decisions, when it comes to business moves, when it comes to my next move in the streets. There's certain things I don't ask people about. They just find out about it later. They find out about it as it's happening. For me, that's always been the best way. Now, there's a downside to all this that I'll warn you about. When you make decisions for yourself and you're truly an individual and you don't use others as, hearing what you want to hear or as an indecisive kind of weak, wimp little beta way to lead your life for you because you're not man enough or adult enough or willing to take any risks because you don't want to risk failure. A lot of people do this for a reason. They're trying to set motherfuckers up because they're scared. What they would rather do is have everybody else, go bounce their ideas off everybody else. Their significant other, their best friends, their mother, their father, whoever it is. And then they go and do the shit, whatever they say to do. And then if it doesn't work out, they have someone to blame. So the downside to being an individual and to choosing your own path and to not using others as parrots to just tell you what you want to hear or to because you're so weak you can't make a decision, you're so indecisive you can't make a decision in life that you're going to ask them what you should do. The downside is that you have to take ownership when it doesn't work out. But that just comes down to how you look at failure. I have failed a lot. But I've realized, and I can let it get me down to where I feel like I'm Gollum, the lowest of the low, a real piece of shit. When you're looking at failure, it's hard to see your success. So I choose to look at the success. And it's not that I'm ignoring the downsides. I just don't beat myself up about it. Failure has such a big weight on it. I just look at it as a lesson. And I've learned a lot of lessons. Motherfucker who's failed the most has learned more. A master. Say you're talking about a Zen master or a samurai master, a martial arts master, a master in business, a master in the streets, a master of anything, a master welder. They have failed. They have fucked up more times than you've ever tried. So it's just good to know. I mean, you can do it. And you take ownership of what doesn't work out. But It's on you, and that's the best thing in the world. I'm not blaming anybody for my failures in life, for where I'm at in this world, for what I've yet to accomplish. I'm not blaming people for that. Oh, if it wasn't for that bitch, if it wasn't for that motherfucker, my stupid parents. I'm not saying those things. It's all me. This is like one of those choose your own adventure games. That's what life is like. And you know, if you ever remember those books, people my age remember them. There used to be these choose your own adventure books, and you would read it a page or two, and then at the end of that page, it would have some choices, A, B, C, or D, or whatever, you know, and you make your choice, and it would tell you what page to go to. And your adventure would continue, or it might not continue. Your character might, have some sort of perilous end, and then you could start over, and you could read the book several times to try to get to the end and actually have your character, win or whatever, to survive. Life is exactly like that. Empowerment and being confident comes from looking at your failures, learning from your failures, and getting over that, and kind of standing up, scraping yourself off, having a good laugh, and moving on to the next adventure. Living under people's advice can hold you back. It's held me back. There's things right now that I've made the mistake. I make this mistake, and I'll bounce it off people that I look at my support system, and they give me that same old, play it safe, don't do this, don't do that. And when you don't do anything, nothing happens. You can go year in and year out, and nothing will ever happen. And you only live once. So take risks and chances. Learn to trust the power within that you have within you. And don't beat yourself up if it doesn't work out. Life is just a game. Just learn how to play it right. Thanks for watching.